Welcome to Humans of Public Service.
We're here today with another episode of Humans of Public Service video interview series. And we're actually sitting down and having a great conversation with Chelsea Boozer. And she's the former government affairs manager at Central Arkansas Water and the current executive director of Rogue Water Lab. Chelsea, welcome.
Yeah, Brian, thanks for having me.
As I've said before, Humans of Public Service is about the people. So let's start there. I know you're in Arkansas now, but is that where you grew up?
Yeah, I did grow up in Arkansas. I was born on a Navy base in Florida. My dad was in the Navy, but he got out when I was about 1 year old, medically discharged, and we moved to Arkansas, which is where his family and my mom's family were from. So I grew up in the northeastern part of the state, which is the Delta area. Think like Mississippi River farmland. Right across the bridge from Memphis, Tennessee. So when I was younger, anyone nationally, I just told them I was from Memphis because they knew where that was. They didn't know Marion, Arkansas, which was a town of about, at the time, 10,000 people.
Gotcha. Okay. And what did you study in Memphis?
I did journalism. Ever since I was little, I used to want to be a book author because I was good at writing and I knew that and my teachers told me that and I like to tell stories and I thought that was the only career that existed for telling stories. But then quickly in high school, I learned about journalism, became editor of the paper, and really fell in love with journalism, honestly, for its public service.
Where was that first job, or was it specifically in journalism, that first position?
Kind of, pretty much. So my dad really allowed me to focus on academics, and I was really big into student council and things like that. I mean, he was over there. He is a single dad working 3 jobs. So it wasn't until I was 18 that I got a job, and it was at this place called Party City. I don't know if that's more of a Southern thing.
Yeah, we have one of those.
And I loved it because I loved Halloween. I played with the mask and things like that. But I only did it for 3 months. And then I was really lucky my first job was in journalism at my college newspaper. And then I got hired on as an intern at the Memphis Commercial Appeal. So ever since then, until I entered the water industry about 6 years ago, all my jobs were journalism. I worked in Memphis, in DC, and then here in Little Rock, Arkansas.
What sort of sparked your interest in taking your skill set and applying it to public service?
From a young age, I distinctly remember my dad would always just say to leave a place better than you found it. Whatever you do, you don't have to stay forever. And he wasn't even, this is when I was a kid, so he wasn't even talking about work. He was just talking in general, that's how you live life. And so I always just wanted to make things better.
When did the opportunity sort of present itself to go into a government role? And how did that come about?
I had a child.
Okay.
So my son is 6.5. And, as passionate as it was about journalism, they're not the best paying jobs with the best benefits. So it was strictly I told myself at the time, I always said, I've got to get a grown-up job now. So I just started putting the words out there to the entities that I covered. I covered local government, so City Hall, the water agency, the wastewater agency. And when I had the conversation with the water agency director of communications, he was like, oh, well, we're actually looking for someone. We're expanding kind of the work we do and reaching out to the community. And I was like, that would be amazing. At the time, I thought I understood how water worked because I had been covering them for 6 years. Little did I know once I got into it, water is so much more amazing. There's so much more work that goes into it than I even understood as a journalist.
So you've been in the water space for a while. What are 1 to 2, let's say, common misconceptions or things that people don't know about water but should?
People don't know anything about water, right?
At all.
Nobody does because you don't think about it. You go to your faucet, you turn your sink on, you grab your water, you cook your meal, you take your shower, you flush your toilet. The service is so good here in the United States, mostly. There is an access gap in some areas of the U.S., but what people don't know is that water workers take their source water, whether it's from a well underground, whether it's a source lake, they take it from the forest where the rain drops and fills your source lake all the way to the treatment plant. Treat it. It goes through more than 100 tests per day for safety, and then get it all the way to your home 24/7 in a reliable manner. It's there when you need it. And then also, if people understood what all went into maintaining this crucial public health resource for them, they would value it a lot more. And then they would also, sorry not to ramble, but this is a big point of mine, they would not be using single-use plastic water bottles. So you pay 300 times more for those plastic water bottles, but half of those bottled water companies rebottled tap water. So you're drinking tap water anyway. Tap water is far more regulated. It's going through hundreds of tests per day for your safety that the bottled water is not undergoing. And your tap water is just like really good.
How do people get into water?
Yeah.
Like, what degree would you aspire to get? And if you didn't get a degree, how would you get in? Like, what are the pathways?
I absolutely love this question because that question sums up like one of the major issues in the water industry right now is workforce. About 30% of the workforce is going to retire in the next like 6-7 years, which is a major problem. And how are we attracting that new talent? So really, it's a huge industry with a plethora of job skills. You can get into it and from whatever field you're interested in. But if you're also interested in those kind of boots on the ground jobs, working out in the community, in the field, you don't even need a degree. And it's great paying jobs with, government benefits and job security. So yeah, to answer your question, there's a lot of different ways. But if anybody's interested, please reach out because I'd love to talk to you about it.
If you had to describe public service in 3 to 5 words, what would you say?
Doing what's best for the greater good to make communities thrive.
Helping communities thrive. You want to run with those 3?
There you go. Helping communities thrive.
I love it. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thanks for the opportunity to kind of talk about, what impacts people every day, but they might not necessarily think about. So I appreciate the time today.
Anytime. Thanks, Chelsea.